Hey, how's it going? Oh, I guess the timer's going. So, cleared some more space. Let's see how it goes. So, pulled two cards from the. Oh, hold the phone. Oops. Sorry about that. I wanted to show you some signs, some signage. Sorry, that was just darling. Excuse me. Here, why don't they do this? Yes, I know I didn't get rid of it. I just moved it out of the way. Anyway. Yes, two cards from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And I pulled 34. Well, I'm going to show you them in the order that they came out. 36 and then 34. And I thought how tidy that they're staying in the same, numeral set, the 30s. So, this card and this card, I just noticed it about this one. I noticed it on this one earlier, and I've noticed it before, and I just really haven't commented on it because, I don't know, I just didn't. Okay, you guys can all get out of the way. Oh my God. Sorry, I dropped my tissue. So, this person. Oh, and by the way, let me interrupt myself before I even get started. I have referred to people that look like this in this deck, because there's a few, as bird people, bird persons. But I also have explained that I mean angels. Let me explain some further things on that matter. The depictions that are from ancient relics and things, and even the ones now today, I mean, the depictions of angels, I don't know that angels look like that. I believe they can look any way they pluck out of our minds, but I just, from what I understand, that is just not their form. So if you could see their form, which would be like pure energy, I guess, and you could see color spectrums that into color spectrums that our human eyes generally can't, unless you have like enhanced dimensional vision ability, So, like if you're psychic, or you can read auras or energy or something like that. So, I think what you would see is, and maybe this contributed to the whole winged and feathered thing, is that if you were able to see one being's energy form in its energy form, it might look like a feather, like it would have like maybe an oval or teardrop shape, and its edges might just be fluttering, very quickly around its edges, like a fringy kind of thing. So it might look like, 1 second. Oh, I smashed them. Dang it. Don't do that. It might look like, come on now. It might look like a feather. See, I just had a book fell on it, and then one side is smashed. There's another one, but it really looks like it went through that ringer. But there's a certain area that I was thinking of when I was talking about that. There is a fly. And it's this area. If you've seen, like, electricity sort of going around the edge of anything, I can't think of like an object or like a machine or a profession that would have something that would do that. But I think if you were just like at home in the wild, it might look like like plugging in something and it just like blowing up like over. There's a word for it. Well, having too much electricity in it and it just literally like bursting from it before it burns out everything and can no longer conduct. And so I feel like it would look something like this. So just a thought. Obviously this angel is very big, but I still feel like it's blowing on the earth, and I felt like it was just only in this portion that it was trying to cool off, but it does have like a sort of burning around the edges. Yeah, like what I just showed you might look like flickering a flame, just like a continuous flicker. Something like this might look, and that's flame colored even. But it also looks like it's eclipsing a bright object like the sun, and I can't remember how it goes with eclipses. I don't know that. I mean, if we were eclipsing, or we, Earth, were eclipsing the sun from like an angle where you could look on and see it, it wouldn't really be us looking at it, would it? So who's looking? She's not looking, she's looking at the Earth. Who's looking from this perspective? I guess that would be us, right? So who are we, the sun people? Because I think it's the sun that's back there. Well, I don't know that makes sense either. Like, what planet's back over this way toward me behind this card? I think I just hurt my brain. Let me look at this other card for a second. Okay, fine. Be obstinate. So the other card I pulled doesn't want me to touch it, apparently. But it's lay of the land, and so this is interesting. Again, with the eclipsing harvest moon, which is funny because I believe there's a harvest moon today. Either, I don't know what time it happened. I think early this morning. I could be wrong because I always read the time zone wrong. Sorry, I have an itch. Anyway, I thought it was a tree, like this darker orangey gold business here. I thought like, oh, well, I looked at it and I was like, either that's like the moon or a tree. And I thought, oh, it's got this big bright yellow planet thing or sun behind it. So it's probably a tree, right? Because wherever this is, the vegetation could look like who knows what. Could look like anything. So I didn't question it too hard. But then I was looking at it some more and I realized that it kind of looks like the moon, like I thought in the first place, and it's very small, so that sort of inside, that you can see like it's inside, its edges are inside this outer bright ring, which I think is another planet behind it. So it's not exactly eclipsing it. It's I don't know, occluding it. Because light is getting in, even though it's pretty dark around anyway, so it's blocking it, whatever it is. But it also looks like if this is a sun and it's like ours and it's a fire, basically, this seems to be not immune to catching on with that, like just immolation by proximity. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm not familiar with this astronomy. That's okay. You know, I saw this. Well, I'll tell you what show I saw. It was Dark Winds that plays on, well, it plays on AMC and probably AMC Plus, and I think that also is on Amazon. Anyway, well, I'm sure it's in a lot of places where you could stream it. So yeah, that's real important that you know that detail. But if you notice, there is someone at the top here, and the show Dark Winds, there was in one of the episodes of the last seasonlet, there, and there's a Navajo reservation that's like in the story. They're not always there, but it's very much in the story, because like the people in the story that are native to the area more or less live there. They have some property on this reservation, and I don't know how much you know about those places. There's a lot of books to be read about Navajo ones. There's a lot going on, like cultural stuff and ceremonies and traditional ways of doing things, that the only way I really know anything about it is from reading books. And I'm not even sure if the books I was reading were actually as informative, because most of them were not written by Navajos or Native Americans. Which doesn't mean that those people can't, you know, come out of there with some kind of information, but I just feel like I know there's a bunch of Navajo artists and filmmakers and so on and so forth. I just feel like, you know, you gotta kind of take it with a grain of salt. And then, you know, this has been over years, so then like YouTube came along, and now I can see them talking themselves about their traditions and things, so that helps. And so I've been able to learn from the different directions, that there's also a lot of sort of spooky, unexplainable stuff that they're privy to, and some things they won't talk about, like people that have passed on. They don't, you know, even what I said is probably more than they would say. I'm just gonna grab a jacket real quick. Okay, so reservations and things that go on there. A lot of like animal stuff that, like, I'm just gonna call it white culture, because the overall culture of America is, even though other things get in, it's mostly like European, let's call it. So other things sort of fall to the wayside, and because they're not as big and important, and as big a seller, I would say, is what raises your profile mostly. So whatever your currency is, unless you're bringing in a lot of it, you're gonna be like page 7 on that Google search or something like that. Why can I ever get straightened out? Because I can't sit still once I start doing this. That's why it just is. So anyway, you really need to know that. I feel like someone from one of those societies Oh, sorry, don't get sidetracked like that. So in the show, there was an eclipse, and the people from the reservation basically shut down whatever they were doing. Like the police station was left with the Caucasian staff off the reservation, and it's probably like a Bureau of Indian Affairs police or something like that, but that's why there would be also Caucasians, really, because, well, that's why that. So, everybody left that was native and went back to the reservation and went to the home. Well, there was a birth, and that was taking place. There was a ceremony for that, and was that the same day? Okay, so maybe the birth thing is, I don't need to talk about that right now. Anyway, everybody, like, dropped what they were doing at their jobs, like, out of town or even on the reservation, and came to this one place because there was a person there that officiated over a ceremony during the eclipse, because in their beliefs there's like a story structure, like a cultural, gosh, anyway, it's a story that's been handed down forever, and it has to do more with like their interpretation of weather and animals and unexplainable forces that they learn to, like live alongside, commune with. And like I said, I don't know a lot about it, but from what I gather, there's a lot of stories behind it, and it doesn't sound unlike the Bible with all of its stories, and it has. Is it proper to call it an allegory if it's in the Bible? Well, anyway, they don't seem dissimilar to me, that they have this mythology. It's not like, well, it is, I guess it is kind of mythology on both counts. So I didn't get to learn like why the eclipse was so important, and you got to hear or see in subtitles maybe like what they were saying during the ceremony, and you could like get the gist. But I mean, I can't even properly tell you what was said in the ceremony, because, well, just I've filled the tape with so much other stuff. It's way back, hard to find. But the wolf is a pretty famous archetype where they appear. There is legend and archetypal stories and like examples, and I don't want to say morality tales, but just like you learn something from these things. Like, I don't know, I guess fables would work. That is not the word I want, though. It's in that it's in that general area of story word history. Anyway, wolves are big with them. And I wonder, isn't it interesting that they both kind of are pack groups, tribal wolves, and, well, I don't know how many people of native goodness gracious, of indigenous ancestry in this country, at least, still live the traditional ways, and like travel with like a teepee, for example, and evidently everything else you would need to live life on the road, literally on the road. And it doesn't sound terrible to me. My mobility, I would have issues, especially if it were in areas where it wasn't paved. Like, I use a wheelchair, but I don't have to. It would be horrible because I've been in it so long. I'd have to relearn how to walk well, there would be no more walking well. That's unless there's magical stem cell stuff that can reconstitute my bones to my youth. The standing and the walking is not going to be easy, and it's not going to be immediate or for long stints, but I can build up to it, and I kind of want to. It's a drag being stuck in this thing, but there's a lot of reasons why I am in it in the first place, and one of the major ones, it has to do with the ability to stand or not, is that I've assumed the shape of a comma. If you look at my profile, you'll see that I have assumed the shape of a comma. Enough about my punctuation. Let's talk about the wolf, and then I can hopefully finish up here, because I'm just getting ridiculous now. What am I doing on time? Not good. Wolf. Guardian of family and tribe. Activism of ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching. Religious or political studies. That's hyphenated. Or not hyphenated. It's got parentheses. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Ugh, I hate that. Personal stuff I can come back to another time. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following. Embrace all, exclude none. I mean, that's kind of how families ideally would be, right? There was something I wanted to highlight here, and it was, well, there was a couple of things. That the wolves are, like I was saying, important figures in a lot of native communities, and they emulate some of the characteristics of it, and they'll have like costumes for their dances, and I think they're like like literally acting out a prayer through dance to the deities that are important. Again, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I think what I said is the case. And then I know that they make all different American tribes, well, and also Australia, theirs do similar things that I've seen, and I'm sure other places do. Like, yes, also Africa, they'll make themselves they'll make costumes where they'll supposed to represent some animal, and I'm sure wolf is one that comes up a lot. I know that there's birds, and it's like, so they like want to take on some of its characteristics. And then also it says that the wolf energy expresses itself through activism and mentorship. And one of the things that I know that's happening definitely in the Navajo tribe, but not just that one, it's that the effect of modern culture has pulled much of the younger community, like the breeding community, away from the reservation, because not only is it tempting, think about that. So yeah, it's tempting, and it pulls them away from like home and community and mentorship, and the activism that's left behind is like finding people that they can bring back to learn the oral traditions of these tribes, because a lot of it's taken down onto paper, like it's been recorded and literally recorded on film or audio, but they need to relate these things and explain their meanings to these younger generations. And then some tribes are like, everybody, we should just teach everybody this stuff because it's really important for like now or what is building up to in the next, I don't know, whatever decade or so in the world. And so this is important information and they want to be able to impart it to somebody in a lot of these places, and that YouTube is great for that. And I also think it's important, even though I don't have a full grasp on it, I get the gist. And they do, like, that's where would say, you know, a humanitarian effort. Well, that's an effort to save their community. That's pretty humane. And also teaching religious or political, but religious in this case, for, well, that's what I could refer to it as such. They may also be Catholic or Christian of some type, but culturally, if they can remember it or if they have some experience of it in their lives and they can continue it, there's that, you know, indigenous culture from this ancient that is getting, you know, fragmented by the competition with cell phones and television and music and everything that's off the reservation and basically not all that healthy for your mind, body, or soul. It's kind of, it makes me a little sad, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's the end of their world. So, something is heating up back behind here. It has to do with the Earth, I think, and possibly also space, or a planet, something from that planet, something about that planet that's going to affect this one. For now, exactly what it is hidden behind the Earth. This here, you can see much, well, you can see more, definitely. It's bright, but details are scarce, I would say. But again, here's this planetary stuff happening, and here's someone there out in the desert or the wilderness, basically, to have the experience of this, whatever it is going on there in the sky. Probably doesn't happen that often, you know, probably comes back around however so often long, because in astronomy, you just never know how long it's going to take for something to come back around. Oh, I mean, you can check, but if it's not your job or your study, you don't know. You might not even know, like, consciously that, you know, the stuff goes and it takes a long time to come back, but it's coming back. Thank you. Coming back around. And I wonder how it is, like, I want to say this is flaming out behind this person that's just like, if you know The Stand, and particularly if you read the book, because I feel like the TV and movie representations don't do, especially the last one on Paramount, that character didn't get a very good depiction or showing or whatever, but in the book you get to see and learn about, like, all of his frailties that brought him to be the sort of, like, kind of insane person that he is. But I was thinking that this almost looks like it's flaming out, like the one behind the moon looking one that I thought was a tree at first. It's actually another planet. The light is like going right through it, almost like nuclear bomb blast light or an X-ray, or, you know, the bigger one is causing the one in front of it to incinerate, basically. And this person, think of perspectives here. That person is tiny, so they're really actually nowhere near these things that are probably really, really, oh God, there's not enough really. They're big. They're bigger than we can easily imagine. And this person is almost doing like what that dance that a Native American tribe started doing to, I think, try to run off the U.S. Army, the cavalry, back in like Custer's day. And many of them gave their everything to doing this dance in the hopes that even if they died doing it, their descendants would have the benefit of, you know, the intention of the spell working. Like, we're gonna dance till we die to change the energy of this place and repel this army and these people's, you know, the whole Indian story of America. But if you don't know, you better hurry up and go find out before they ban the information. But this is like the trash can man from the stand. He's, if it were that close to this little tiny person in like just ecstatic joy of this conflagration, because it really looks like a good fire going, he would have hurled himself into that. And if you see the movie or read the book, you would know that that's a true statement. The man was a true firebug, that like beyond. So like this other card where it looks like there's something hidden behind the earth, it's kind of like this is the opposite, where everything is shown. And I don't know how bad it looks. It's just like this darker stain that's on it. It's a very dramatic image though, because it just seems so meaningful that one person is up there, you know, with their arms raised. And I don't know, maybe it's like a personal thing and I'm not allowed to know. Anyway, it kind of makes me think, like, it's a weekend right now, so maybe this works, but maybe we're not meant to know what either of these things are about. Well, the planets are in the positions that they're in, so I don't know, several hours, a couple of days, could be longer or way longer, but eventually both of those bodies would move, and then everything would change. So I'm hopeful that in these periods of sort of darkness and hidden processes, that things come out golden, and maybe any fires that I'm seeing are, because this has a lot of fiery elements, I hope they're the cleansing variety and good things come through, as I would like to believe that this also suggests, once the planets change those positions. And you know, this one, it could be like a light refraction thing, and what looks like all a fire or a flame is not that at all. Like, it's a reflection that I could be thinking that all of that is, and it's just a mistaken perception. But you know, as of now rather, I don't know. I think it's gonna take some time before I have a better idea. And this wise fellow, who also, like, I see that it has like campfire-y colors, which is interesting. a type of fire to choose, considering it's a wolf, because where else would you find them but if not camping in the woods? So here this guy is like, he came in out of the dark. Hey, you got something to eat? But sorry, that's but this guy would know things that would be valuable to share with, like, as a teacher, because this is also a teaching, like I said before, a symbol of education, I guess you could say, and being tolerant and being tolerant and practicing that, and practicing being accepting of people and things and situations the way they are, because in any one of those cases, if you don't give something more than the first impression's worth of time, you don't know what you're missing. You haven't you've only touched the surface. So this figure symbol could be like educating us in so many ways that we would have forgotten, even that would be like primal, like how to evade fires. But I really do think, like, it's like this dude came up out of the dark. I don't know if you've seen, there's a YouTube video where some people are having a picnic and a bear just comes walking up and sits down, and they just share some food with the bear. The bear joins them in their picnic. This could be like like that, but just to convey that it's come to join the humans and impart some information and break bread at the warm firelight. And also we can check the humans out before it retreats back into the darkness to inform its peoples, like maybe we hang around there, there's some leavings to be had, and hopefully not an attack situation, because that's not where I'm going with this, but just that the leader of the pack could go back to that pack and say, this is what's up with those people out there. And from there, I don't know, I guess that's the end of what I have to say for now. Thank you and good night.